So, what are some of the factors we need to consider when we're creating a budget? What are some of those things?
I mean, it's a super question. And having worked with many, many churches over many, many years, I'd suggest that there are loads of different ways that churches create budgets and different approaches to that. From the no budget approach, which I personally wouldn't suggest, but churches that sort of just don't do budgeting, to many churches which do a budget, but then don't actually use the budget that they've created. And unfortunately, that sort of lands at the same place as not having created a budget. In terms of actually putting a budget together, there's the kind of like no change, just copy what you did last year. That's increasingly hard to do with inflation as it is, because actually costs typically are going up. And so another approach which churches sometimes use is the incremental increase, where they take last year's budgets and essentially add 3% or 5% to that. But for some churches, they get much more in the detail and they carefully adjust each of their budget lines. For other churches, they sort of they do this by taking last year's actuals and maybe building from those in terms of how they're going to set budgets for the new financial year. Other churches still they take an approach of splitting their expenditure into kind of fixed costs where they can't really do very much about it, things like heating and lighting maybe, to your non-fixed costs where actually they can flex those budgets and they sort of put their budget together based on the fixed costs and then they look at the rest of the money they sort of feel like they have to play with. Many churches do build from a previous year's budget. There's a small number of churches out there that start building each budget each year from scratch. And that's obviously much more time consuming, but it does allow you to kind of reevaluate and make sure that you're building your budget around the right things. And then in terms of how to create a budget, I think there's often a couple of kind of key approaches. One is to build budgets upwards from budget holder requests, where essentially budget holders put in what they would like to spend and a budget's somehow put together. And that's quite a difficult thing because then often the amount that budget holders are requesting isn't doable within kind of what the church feel like is reasonable. Or the other way of doing it is that budget holders are decided at a senior level without much budget holder involvement, and then essentially budget holders get to outwork the amount that they've been allocated. And obviously, there's somewhere in the middle.